You're listening to the Master Passive Income Podcast Network. Welcome to the Master Passive Income Show. This is Dustin Heiner, and I'm here to help you get financial independence, quit your JOB, that just over broke job, by investing in real estate. And in today's show, I am super pumped to share with you how a 20-year-old college student was able to invest in real estate. No matter what age you are, whether you're 18, 19, 20, or 65, 70 years old, you can do this, and we're going to show you how you can do it as well. All right, let's start the show.
Welcome to the Master Passive Income Podcast, where we talk about investing in real estate with a special focus on making enough money so you can quit your job and live the dream life. And now, here is your host, Dustin Heiner.
What's up? What's up? Super blessed as always to have you here with me on the show. Now, I got to say, it has been super quiet lately for the last probably about year. And you know what has been quiet? All of those Instagram and TikTok influencers who used to talk about short-term rental properties. They would say, hey, I started investing in 2022. I bought 2 properties and I'm making $10,000 a month in Airbnb. Well, those people are gone now. Do you see them anymore? No, you don't. And there's a big reason why that's happening. And I've been investing since 2006, started coaching around 2015 and 16. So I've had my podcast for literally 10 years now. 2.3 million downloads. And as you know, it's really just me trying to help you to invest in real estate. And the reason I never went bankrupt, or I'm not having problems now, like those short-term influencers, which we'll get to in just a second, reason why we're doing so well is because we know how to invest. Like all those short-term influencers, short-term investing influencers talk about Airbnb, and they started investing, let's say in 2020, 21, maybe 22, 23. Anybody can invest or put their money someplace in a stock, in real estate, in gold and silver, no matter what, you could put it in anything. And if the economy or if the market or whatever it is that you are investing in, if the values are going up just because all of them are going up, then you win. Just like these short-term influencers. And what they did was they were getting you to spend $100,000 to work with them, and they'll coach, quote unquote, coach you how to buy a short-term property. Well, it's very easy to make money when the market keeps going up. It's very hard to make money if you don't know how to do it right. All of these short-term real estate influencers that have been talking for, let's say, 4 or 5 years of how amazing short-term properties are, I was watching just about 6 months ago, maybe a year to 6 months ago, I started seeing all these short-term influencers from saying, hey, you need to invest in here. Like the Smoky Mountains are so great. This is where I just bought this property. I'm making $5,000 a month profit on these properties. You need to do it too. Follow me and blah, 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 blah. Well, last year to 6 months, all of these short-term people, these short-term investors and influencers, they're saying, hey, I'm now selling my short-term properties. These are great properties. You should come by and buy my properties. I can't tell you how many. I mean, it's been so many different, these influencers on TikTok and Instagram who didn't know how to invest. They thought they did, but they had no clue. And when you invest for short-term, eventually you get bit if you're overpaying for properties. You're paying more money than you should for a property. You're not capturing equity, which means you're not buying it less than it's worth. You're not making sure you can long-term rent the property and still make money. Like if you're counting on your short-term property to rent every single day, like you need max occupancy, max amount of dollars per days, and you have to rent them out every single day for the entire month in order to make a profit or even to pay your mortgage, you're getting hurt. Now, the reason why they're selling is because they didn't do it right. They didn't invest right. But let me tell you how to invest right. Enough about doing it wrong way. So many more things I could talk about doing it wrong way. But here's the right way. Here is the right way that I started back in 2006. Now, if you remember, 2008 was a crash in the real estate market. And honestly, there were so many real estate investors going broke or bankrupt. And you just ask anybody who was investing back then, they will more than likely tell you they went bankrupt in 2008. Do you know who did not go bankrupt? This guy, me right here. I did not go bankrupt. In fact, I made more money because I solely invested for cash flow every single month from my rents. Now, sadly, in the crash, the values went down, but I did not care. I did not care because the property made me money from the rents. Now my properties have tripled in value since 2008. Isn't that amazing? And now the rents have doubled, if not more. Actually, it's probably 2.5 times the amount that I was first renting it for back in 2006. Now, that is the first key, that you invest for income. You build income into every single piece of property that you buy, that you're making money long term. Now, the key is, though, we're buy and hold. We don't always just want long term. We also want short term or midterm, which is 30, 60, or 90 days, renting to nurses, traveling executives, and businesses and things like that. But we are buy and hold investors, where we buy it and never sell, and we pick which way we want to rent it out. And we do not buy a property unless it is long term rented. And honestly, all those quote unquote gurus, Instagram and TikTok gurus, they're gone now. The short term ones that are just saying, hey, this is sexy money. You're going to make $5,000 a month from every property. They're absolutely gone, because over the entire country, short term is getting squeezed. Short Airbnb is now hurting really, really bad. People are losing money. Foreclosures are coming. Now, I say all this because what I want you to know is that real estate is going to get amazing. Real estate is going to be absolutely amazing next coming months and years. Prices are going to come down. People are going to fall out of real estate and hate real estate. That's when you and I come in and buy all these properties. And no matter what age you are, it is always the right time to invest in real estate. But let me ask you this: when is the best time to invest in real estate? You might be thinking today, no, that's the second best time. The first best time was 20 years ago, and I started investing back in 2006. This is 20 years now. Later from that, I'm living this proverb, this quote in my life right now. I'm so blessed that I look back now. I said, I invested 20 years ago, and now I am sitting under this huge tree of money flowing in, this money tree coming in. And I want you right now, think about your life. 20 years from now, I do not want you to be that person that says, I wish I would have done exactly what Dustin said, bought real estate. I listened to him every single week, but I never took action. That can't be you. You need to be the person that took action. And 20 years from now, saying, I am so glad I listened every single week and I took action off of Dustin's podcast. In fact, all of the events we put on, from Income Building Live to our mastermind events, we have a mastermind 7-day cruise with me that is going to be absolutely amazing in January 2027. I'll put the link in the description. If you're at all curious, you can come as well. But all of these things, it's because I want to get other investors together and help everybody to get better in their investing. And that's why I'm bringing on one of my students on today, who at 20 years old has started investing. And no matter what age you are, I know you can invest in real estate. And 20 years from now, you'll be thinking and saying, I'm so glad, after listening every single week to the podcast, Master Passive Income, Dustin, I listened to him, and now I own real estate, and now I am financially free. And you'll get there before 20 years, but 20 years from now, you'll be looking back and saying, yes, I'm so glad I did. Now let's listen to the interview that I did with one of my students, Luke Fisher. He's going to show us how he did it and how you can do it as well. Here we go. Luke Fisher, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you being on.
Absolutely, Dustin. Thanks for having me on. Before we get started, I just want to say, I absolutely love your enthusiasm. And I can really tell that you love real estate and I love real estate. And so just like listening to your podcast, it's just really, really encouraging hearing your voice and everything. Like, this guy loves what he's doing, and like, I want to do what this guy's doing. So I appreciate that about you.
Thanks, man. That's great. I really appreciate you hearing that. And for everybody listening to this on the podcast, I'm actually recording it as well. So if you want to watch this on YouTube, you could see that Luke and I are just having a conversation here. He and I, just like your next door neighbors. We're just normal guys that want to help each other out. And so if you go to masterpassiveincome.com/YouTube, you can definitely watch everything on there as well. But man, okay. So Luke, take us back to when you first got into passive income and real estate. Now, what were you doing in life and that got you to switch into thinking, I want passive income and I want rental properties as well?
You got to take me back to when I got my first job, which honestly wasn't that long ago. I'm pretty young. But
Well, pause
so
that. I love that you're how young you are. I got started when I was 26 and 27. I wish I would have started sooner. And I have young people that start like as early as 19, which is amazing.
that's
Imagine starting
awesome.
at 19 and then 10 years later, when you're 29, being able to quit your job. Anyways, sorry, go ahead and finish your story.
Absolutely. Like, well, the earlier the better. I mean, just thinking like you start at 19 and you just really hit it hard. You can graduate. You can, quit your job well before 29. It's just a really cool, awesome thing you can do. Anyway, so yeah, got hired. I've worked in agriculture. I've really only ever had one job, but worked in agriculture, and as soon as I graduated from high school, and it's long hours, everything. I like to work and everything, but uh, I had my girlfriend, who is my wife now, girlfriend at the time, and wasn't able to spend a ton of time with her. Wasn't able to spend a ton of time with my friends. I was paying for school, getting through school, and so I didn't have a lot of free time, and I thought work was for me, and but I need a different kind of work. Um, so I kept going through, and I'm like, there's got to be something better. And so I've always been kind of interested in real estate. I always wanted to buy my own house, just pride of ownership type of thing. Um, so I started listening to Dave Ramsey. I would go into school. I was going to school for finance, listening to Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey says, you need to pay off all your debt. I mean, only go into debt to go to school, but get all your debt paid off and everything. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do that. So no debt for school, pay everything off, do what Dave Ramsey says, and then he says, okay, now you can go get a house. It's best to pay cash for it, but you can get a loan. I said, okay, Dave, I'm going to go get a loan. So I kind of saved up some money, and at this point, I had just graduated from college, and so I went and got a house. It's a it's this house actually, 2 bed, 1 bath, um, and so I got that, and I'm like, oh, well, what's the next step? I'm working my job. I've had a job since I was 18. I think like 23 at this point, but I didn't really want to work a whole lot more. And so I just started looking at avenues and different places to just get out and I guess just leverage myself. Because, like you said, I don't like trading dollars for hours. It's just not the lifestyle I want to do. So I just kind of started searching more and listening to your podcast and everything. And that's kind of where it started.
That's terrific. Yeah, that I find that Dave Ramsey is fantastic for probably about 90% of the population out there. Most people, they're not geared to be investors like us, or they don't see the vision that we have and what it can be. But it's great information to get you financially educated. But then from there to actually be wealthy, to be able to where you don't have to work a job, we need to have outside education. So now you found my podcast, you started listening to it. Now tell me about your purchase of your first house. Now you have a 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom where you're currently living in. And where do you currently live? And then where did you buy your first rental property?
Sure. So I purchased my 2 bed, 1 bath in Spokane, Washington. That's where I've grown up, been here nearly my entire life. Um, and then I have my property 1,800 miles away in the south in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yes, that's awesome. So, man, okay, how do you do that? Like, how do you buy so far away from you and not worry about the property, not worry about the 2 a.m. phone calls? Because that's what everybody worries about is a 2 a.m. phone call. So, how do you do that?
2 letters for you, PM, property manager. I mean, that's really all there is to it.
Now, I completely agree with you. Okay, so you live in Spokane, Washington, but you're investing in Alabama. Now, I personally believe that if you go into the Midwest, down in the Southeast, and the Carolinas, into Florida, there are some great areas to invest in. In fact, all my students are investing now. You just took leave. You were learning, and then you realize, okay, let me go ahead and get some more education. Now, let me ask you, how much do you think, in a roundabout numbers, did you pay for college?
Probably 30 grand.
Yeah, okay, thirty
It was
thousand dollars.
pretty cheap actually, just in
That
state
is
and everything.
much cheaper.
Yeah,
Yeah, much cheaper than I heard from most people. Usually it's like 50, 60, $70,000. Well, you took my course, the Ultimate Real Estate Investing System, and if you paid $1,000 just for that one course, and then you make money from a property that you bought from it, it pays for itself. And when you think about it, if you go to college, you're basically hoping to get a job after. You get a piece of paper that says you completed and you spent $50,000 or $30,000 for the piece of paper, and then you got to go find a job. Well, this, man, if you just forewent that and just started investing, like all of my kids, I am literally teaching them, and I encourage you as well, Luke, when you have your kids, and for everybody listening, Luke, you can hold me accountable to this. Your kids will absolutely. You guys already bought into the course. Make sure that they take the course. I want them to
absolutely.
learn. I want them to grow. Give them your access so that they can get in there. This is generational wealth. I want people to realize that, man, this is going to change your life.
Can I just a little side note right there? So I am totally a believer in you do not need to go to college. I have been there. I have done that. I think we need to change the school system a little bit to teach basic financial education. And honestly, if I just knew my basic financial education, time value of money, something just easy stuff like that, that's all you need. And so, like you're saying, if I were to just not like take my 30 grand, that's more than a down payment for the market that I'm looking at. And yeah, I'd be much more ahead. So I'm totally a believer. I've been there, done that. College most likely won't be for my kids. Don't have them yet. But yeah, I totally agree with you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I told my kids, because I have money for them, for not necessarily for college, because I personally don't believe that everybody needs to go to college. I personally believe you can actually do it without it and go buy real estate, start your own business. There's so many different ways. I know personally that I could teach my kids how to make money and provide for themselves and their families so much better than almost everybody. I mean, other than more like Warren Buffett or some, the really top dogs. I know I could teach them really well, so I'm going to be teaching them now. Okay, so from here, you buy your first house. You're listening to Dave Ramsey. Now you're realizing, I want to buy my first property. Walk us through the deal that you have, the property that you bought, how you found it, how you funded it, how you're managing it, and how you built the business first.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I guess first I was looking in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. I really thought I wanted to get a property there. And so I was looking there. I was learning the area. I talked to a bunch of property managers in Cleveland. It was actually kind of a suburb I was looking at is Parma.
I have a property in Maple Heights, which is right around Cleveland.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I know
Yeah. So I really, I kind of liked the numbers. I was working and by the way, I mean, if you know your numbers, you have all the power in the world. Like that's all you need to know. So kind of learn the numbers, just soaking up as much information as I could. But it kind of deterred me a little bit just because the crime was pretty high there. And then the taxes.
And I want to pause for a quick second and share that, honestly, I really want you to invest in real estate. Now, my new goal is to help 1 million people invest in real estate. So 2 things I would ask from you. Number 1, if you get anything out of this episode, please share it with somebody else. Just say, hey, check out Dustin, Master Passive Income. He really wants to help 1 million people to invest in real estate. That's number 1. Number 2, I want to get you to invest in real estate. Get my real estate investing course absolutely for free. Text the word rental, RENTAL, to 33777. Rental to 33777. I'll literally give you my course, show you how to find an area of the country to invest, how to build the business first. I always talk about that, and how to find the right properties, how to make sure you're getting experts to do the work for you, and scale the business to where you're making $250 or more in passive income. Scale it to quit your job. I'll literally get to you, or go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course. Obviously, it'll be in the description, but I really, really want you to invest in real estate, because the more that actual, normal, everyday people own real estate, the better everybody's life gets.
The taxes were pretty high there as well. And so I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I'm going to start looking at other spots. And so it's just kind of a random little deal. I was listening to the Bigger Pockets podcast, and it's just a commercial or something like for deal machine or something. And all they said was Birmingham, Alabama. Like, and I just heard it and it just clicked. And so I guess there wasn't much of a methodical process looking into Birmingham. So I looked into Birmingham. Taxes were super low. Um, and I mean, there's crime everywhere, but it was a lot lower in the area. And the area I'm looking at is Center Point. There in Birmingham. But so yeah, decided to go to Birmingham, and it really at this point I had purchased your course, and it was so simple. Like I almost didn't have to think, right? Because you took me through every single tiny little step, and it was just easy peasy. It was long. There was a lot to do. It took me about a year to set up the business. And there's a little contract you signed to yourself. And so I said, I'm going to get a property here in 3 months. Well, I was a little bit discouraged. I didn't meet that because I just had so much more to do. But yeah, it took me a long time, but it went through every step, found my property manager, interviewed about 5 property managers. And this guy representing this company, he knew his stuff. He always contacted me just like that. If I had a question, just got right back to me. And I really highly value that. And then realtors, interviewed about 5 of those. I picked 3 that I liked, but the others, the other 2 just kind of dwindled down, and they didn't communicate with me as much. So there was really one shining star with my realtor. And so, yeah, just building that business, it took some time, but it was definitely worth it.
So was it a year from the time you really started, you jumped in the ultimate real estate investing system and then eventually bought your property?
Maybe a little bit less, but pretty close.
I mean, that's terrific. I know when I first got started, it took me about 6 to 12 months. I can't remember exactly because it was quite a little while ago, but it took me quite a while to actually do it. And I didn't know what I was doing. I literally flew there. Now I got to ask you a question. Did you fly to Alabama to look at the area?
My family and friends think I'm absolutely nuts, but no, I've never seen it.
Yes, I love it. All the 30 plus properties I have, I've literally only seen one of them before I bought it. And I've only seen 2 total out of all of them. And I don't go to the States. I'll never go
Yeah,
back to the States because unless I need to. But yeah, so is that nerve wracking to do that?
absolutely. Yeah, you kind of say in your podcast and when you're teaching, it's only inventory. Don't get emotional about it. Well, that kind of goes out the window when it's your first deal. You're going to be emotional about it, and it's a little nerve wracking. So yeah, it was kind of scary, but I had you hold my hand the entire way through, and I said, like Dustin's done this. He says it's okay. I know my numbers. It's going to be fine. So.
Awesome. So to everybody listening, I have the ultimate real estate investing system. That's a course that I created. Hundreds and hundreds of hours of my personal time I put into do the teaching. But I do also have a free course that's basically going to show you in a nutshell everything you need to do. So if you text the word rental to 33777, 33777 rental, RENTAL, I'll give you my free real estate investing course. It's a PDF you'll download, see basically how to do it. And then the ultimate real estate investing course is like 100 times that. So there's so much more to learn, but I just want you to get started. So from there, Luke, we now tell us about the property. How big is it? How much did you buy it for? How much passive income do you make?
Yeah, it's a 3-bed, 1.5 bath, 1348 square feet, 1-car garage. I was really trying to get the 2-car garage because that's your like spiel, and the 2-bath. Didn't quite get there. But in that area, it's kind of hard to find the 2-car garages. It's a real struggle. So yeah, brick house. It's got a decent sized lot right by an elementary school. Good neighborhood, pretty low crime. Probably a 3-star, 3 out of 5 stars as far as just the neighborhood goes.
That's great. So when Luke just mentioned the 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 2-car garage, 1,300 square feet. So in the course, I teach that the cookie cutter home, this is the type of home that everybody wants to either rent or buy when you want to sell, is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage from 1,200 to maybe 1,500 square feet. And I teach so much about reasons why and how to find them and all that sort of stuff. But you did that. So that's great. And to also touch on the bathroom and the garage, the only one that we do not change or cannot go under is the 2-bedroom. We never buy 2 bedrooms. Those are horrible. I've bought them before. They're not good. Just don't do it. There's so many more 3-bedroom. But the 2 bathroom and the 2 car garage, it's okay if in that specific area where you're investing, they all don't have 2 car garages. So if you have, let's give you an example. Let's say you have the one house out of 500 that have a 1 car garage. All the other ones have 2 car garages. That's not good. You want to have like kind. Same thing with if all the other properties have 2 bathrooms and you have the one that has 1 bathroom, they're like, yeah, I'm going to move on. So that's what he's saying. Okay. From there, Luke, talk to us about how much, if you don't mind sharing, how much did you buy it for? What are your expenses every single month? How did you fund that property as well?
Sure. Yeah. They were asking 89 for it. I offered 78, and then they countered at 84, and so I said, okay, I'll do it at 80. And so we had a contract at 80. And then my mortgage broker said, hey, you know what? You're an investor and everything. You like to keep your cash. Why don't you say 82,000, and that way your monthly payment is just a slight bit more, but they cover the closing costs, and so you get to keep that cash, and you can just keep your business going. So I was like, that's a good idea. I don't know what the math works out to, but $10 more, if that, probably not even that, a month. So yeah, it rents for $900 a month. The mortgage, escrow, and insurance is $443. So I'm taking home before, and then my property management is 8%. So it's about $385 of net income from that. And that's not taking into account, repairs, vacancy, all that. But
Vacancy,
actual
yeah.
cash flow on a good month is 385.
Whew, man, that is brilliant. Okay, so there's a couple things I want to touch on. Number one, the mortgage broker was absolutely correct to recommend you asking that. Now, for him, he's going to maybe make a little bit more money, but not much. It's only $2,000, but it's really, really smart because you're saving your cash. That's an extra. Closing costs are going to be like $3,000 to $4,000. You're or maybe $2,000 to $4,000, depending on what it is. So you're basically prepaying it by having your mortgage, but you have more cash. Long story short, that's a great pro tip for everybody listening to this. After you've already done it, already have your contract, you're already ready to go. It's just going to help the seller to realize, hey, we're just shifting the money a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit more. You're going to pay they don't have any reason to say no. It's just silly, but they would. But I do also want to touch on. So I love negotiating. That's like one of my favorite things to do, especially in real estate. You literally, if we just go off to $80,000, because with the closing costs and everything, they were asking 89, well, almost $90,000. You got them down to $80,000. That's $10,000 that you saved by negotiating. I'm so excited for you, man. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I guess, I don't know. It was really cool. It was probably, just a few days. As soon as I saw the property, and I guess I'm kind of a weirdo, but I look at Zillow like 100 times a day. I'm always looking at Zillow, and I like looking at deals. So
you need to.
Yep. Yeah. And so, I saw the property, showed it to my, realtor, and he said, yeah, this looks like a good deal. We put an offer in that night, and it was ready to go. So, and I do everything on my phone. So there's hardly any time I ever use my computer. I actually, little side note, you emailed me before. It's like, make sure you have a webcam. I said, oh crap, I don't have a webcam. So I went to Walmart like 30 minutes before the interview, grabbed a webcam, set it up. So I now have a webcam. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I do everything
Thanks,
on my
man.
phone. Yeah. Everything on my phone, email, that stuff. I scan documents, all that. And so it was just really, and I had already put in offers before, probably about on 5 different houses, and it just fell through. But it's really just kind of a seamless process. I guess just stressing being able to do everything on your phone, at least for me, it just makes everything so much easier.
When I first started investing, it was in 2005, 2006. None of this was available. Like literally, it was not available. I think Zillow had just got started right around there, and everything. I was doing my best to try to make it as online as possible, but it still wasn't. It is so easy in today's day and age to invest in real estate just on your phone. We literally don't fly anywhere. It's so awesome. And now you're making close to $400 in passive income from that property. Now, obviously, not accounting for repairs, capital expenses, because now here's one, and you already know this because you're in the course, but for everybody listening, what we try to do is save up for repairs and expenses up to 2 times the rent amount. So let's say it's $1,000 for rent. We try to save up to $2,000, put in an account per property. Now, once you get to 10, you probably don't need $20,000 or more because not all of them are get broken at one time. Long story short, you want to save up to 2 times the rent. Now, from there, my opinion is just that's your money to save to buy another property. So does that make sense to you, Luke?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to have your reserves and save your money, and I mean, I like putting it into like a little. I like to trade options a little bit and stuff like that. So I like to put it in kind of another account that makes a little bit of money off of it, not a whole lot, but I mean more than your 3%, higher than inflation. But yeah, it's good to have that extra cash. Absolutely important. Cash flow is king. So yeah.
It sure is. Now, how did you get the down payment? Because that's a lot of people. Well, how do I get the down payment? Number one, how do I get the financing? Talk to because you got a mortgage broker, which is great. We interview, and one thing I do want to quickly touch on: you interviewed 5 property managers. That is absolutely like we have to interview as many property managers. I always recommend 5 to 6 property managers. Interview them because over time, after you interview 2 or 3 different times with each one, some will rise to the top, like your number one, your number two, and number three. You go with your number one, you keep your number two as a backup, and number three is a backup. So I definitely want to touch on that. Now, with financing and funding, how did you have money for the down payment? And then how did that financing come?
Well, and originally I thought, I'm just gonna have to save a ton, right? I need close to 20 grand to get a house. That's a lot of money, especially for a kid. It's like, what the heck? How am
It
I gonna
sure
get
is.
that money? So I had bought a house. I bought a house I live in 2017, and my mortgage broker said, "Well, what do you think about cash out refinance?" Um, and so, I didn't know much about it. Did research and everything, and it seemed like a good idea. And at the time, interest rates have dropped. I mean, not as low as they are right now, but interest rates have dropped. My house had gone up tremendously in value just because the Spokane market is like that right now. And so I did a cash out refi and pulled out about 13 grand from that. And then they only let you do, I think, is 75 to it's 80% loan to value. So I couldn't pull out as much equity as I wanted to. So then they suggested, well, you're trying to get as much cash as you can. So why don't you do a HELOC on top of that? So I did a home equity line of credit on top of that and got an extra $15,000. And
Oh
then
man,
so that coupled with, and I actually never touched the HELOC, but I have it just, it's always good to have cash on hand
smart.
or credit on hand. So the 13,000 coupled with just kind of saving like a madman and my wife and I, we drive. She has a $2,000 car. I have a $2,000 car. We live well below our
Yes.
means. It's just living cheaply, saving money, and but the main thing really is just that cash out refi. If you got a house, that is absolutely the way to do it if you want to grow and leverage yourself.
That's brilliant. I love the idea of using the cash to refinance. I've done that so many times. It's not even funny how many times I've done it. But a home equity line of credit on top of that, see, banks will give you credit when you don't need it. When you do need it, and like you're like, hey, my business is failing. I really need it. They're like, I'm not going to give you that money because it's just going to go away. So if you have it now for the future, it's going to be so much better. Now, as you're talking about saving up money and having money from a property that you're cashing out, which is awesome. And that's a great thing about real estate. The equity continues to go up, especially imagine this one particular rental property that you have now. You've already captured that equity of $10,000. So, let's say $90,000 is probably the value, maybe more now, but you bought it for $80,000. Well, shoot, that's captured of equity of $10,000. And as it appreciates over time, you can even do that refinance on those properties, which I've even bundled 4 or 5 properties together, pulled all the cash out, bought more. There's so many great ways to do this. Okay, so what's the next step for you in buying the next property? I know you're saving, which is great. You're living frugally, which is great. I love that. That's how I am too. What's your next step to buy the next property?
Well, currently I'm trying to do another cash out refi. Same house and everything.
Yeah,
Market's been
I've
great
done that
here.
too.
Yeah. So trying to do a cash out refi on this guy right here. And so hopefully I'm going to close sometime mid this month. And I'm trying to pull out 20 grand. That's what I'm hoping for. Interest rates are super low right now.
Oh, it's
So,
amazing.
and the really, really cool thing about this is it's almost like pulling money out of thin air, right? and I'm not getting taxed on it. So my interest rate right now on this house is like 4.99. I'm going to bring it down to at least 3.75. So,
Ooh.
and pull like 20 grand out. So my payment may go up a little bit, but it's not going to go up that much. It'll go up maybe $50, something like that. But I'm getting a whole $20,000 for $50 a month. Like that's amazing. And I can go, make, 11, 12, 15% on top of that, with that money to buy another property. It's an amazing way to do it. If I didn't have a house, and if I didn't have that way, it'd be so much harder to build up capital.
Yeah, I completely understand. As we work hard, as we save money, we can also get there. But if you have your own personal property to refinance and pull cash out, that's why if anybody comes to me and says, I want to invest in real estate, if they're renting a house, there's a couple thoughts that come to mind. Number one, if you bought a rental property, you can use that as income to buy your next house, which you can live in. Or if you bought the house yourself, or you did a house hack, which I love the idea of doing a house hack, buying a duplex, living in one and renting out the other. If you do that as well, the more properties you own, the more equity you have. And I talked about equity capture, which is just one of the ways that we make money in real estate. Also, just market appreciation, just over time. Like you said, you've already done the cash out refinance once, but because the interest rates are so low, prices are still going up. I think it's going to keep going up for at least another 6 months, maybe a year. And then they might kind of plateau a little bit, because the interest rates are 3%. I mean, shoot, that is so crazy how low that is. Yeah. And that $50 a month, let's say if it is $50 a month because the interest rates is lower, which is great. You buy one property, that destroys that $50 a month that you're paying in extra for this one mortgage. So, and then you still have your home equity line of credit. So thinking about financing, you've got so many options. Now, did you use a regular conventional loan as a second property or an investment property on the one in Alabama?
Yeah, absolutely. 30-year fixed, conventional, 20% down. 20% down sounds like a lot of money, but when it's an $80,000 property, I think that's like $16,000 or something.
16,000.
Yeah, it's not that. It's a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that much.
Yeah, no, for us who are frugal guys, it's a lot of money, but you just realize how you can utilize other people's money, refinancing, all that sort of stuff, even hard money. I have students that use hard money loans to get things and then refinance it out. And it's just, and here's the best thing. There's just so many best things about real estate. So what I also love is that the numbers are almost fixed. Like they don't change a lot. Like all of our expenses, they're very fixed. Like our mortgage doesn't change. And if you get a regular 30-year fixed, like we try to do, oh my goodness, it stays there. Rents go up, but our mortgage stays here. And then when that mortgage is gone, we still have that money coming in. I was blessed to be able to pay off a lot of my loans when I quit my job because I just had money coming in. I was like, well, let's just pay this one off. And then let's pay this one off. And then that was just that much more passive income because it wasn't going
That's an excellent problem to have. I got too much money coming in. Yeah.
So what is your idea about investing in, I have my own opinion, so I'll give you my opinion after. I want to ask you what your thoughts are. Investing in a brand new, you're already in Alabama. What's your opinion, or what would you do? Would you start a whole new area? Would you still continue in Alabama? What are your thoughts?
Well, since I think it'd be a shame to start in a whole new area since I've already built a business in Alabama. I do want to diversify and go into different areas, but I think at least another two more in Alabama and in Birmingham in that specific area. I know pretty well. So yeah, I want to just take advantage of the knowledge that I've built up because it's taken a while to build up that knowledge. And then I do want to move to a different area and just, capture something there. But yeah, for now, Alabama's my area.
I wholeheartedly agree. It takes a lot of work to build up the business. It takes a lot of work to know the market, to know what's a good deal. So when a good deal comes on the market, like, that's a good deal. I know because I passed up on one and I'm kicking myself. So I better jump on this one. Wholeheartedly agree. Now, a lot of questions, or a question I get from a lot of people is, how do you know when you have too many properties in one area? And my easy answer is, you just internally will know. Like you'll just get a sense of that. I can't give you a certain number. It comes down to a price point, how much you paid for the property, how many mortgages you have, how stretched thin is your property manager, what's the market like, so many different things. You are going to know your market so much better than I ever would. For me, it was literally about 12 properties in
Oh,
one
wow.
area. It's like, you know what? It's about time for me to start branching out, because if my property manager, God forbid, croaks or dies or whatever, I'm going to be stuck. Like, I need to diversify. So you'll get to that point where you realize, you know what, it's time for me to move on. But here's another great thing. So I completely agree. Keep going with Birmingham, Alabama. Keep doing that. But even though you've already built that business, keep buying there. But in the meantime, you've already done it once.
Mhm.
Like, I showed you how to fish instead of just giving you a fish and say, here you go ahead and eat. No, I showed you how to fish. Now you keep buying in that one area. You have more time. Let's say in the next 6 months, start researching a whole nother area, because you don't need to continually research because you've already built the business here. Start thinking, okay, I'm going to start analyzing a whole brand new area. While I'm still buying in Alabama, I'm going to start analyzing a brand new area. So when I am ready, I'll already know the market, I already have people set up, the business will already be set up. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's an excellent pro tip. And yeah, as soon as I'm ready and I got that money and all that stuff and I'm ready to move, I can just kind of nab another property quickly. There's no time wasted. So yeah, no, that makes complete sense.
Awesome. I get a lot of questions like, when should I do this? Or when should I do this? Or when should I do this? I guess it's just how my mind works. I try to line things up in not necessarily in order, but I try to do things at the time that is necessary. And I can also do something at the same time. So I'll give you an
Mhm.
example. So a lot of people that come to me for one-on-one coaching, which, pausing this whole thought, I love that you just took the course. You didn't get the one-on-one coaching, and just from the course, you were able to do this. And because that's how I built the course, was like step by step. You just do this whole process, and you'll get there. So I love that. But going back to what I was saying, as you are building your business and thinking about step by step, and people come to me for one-on-one coaching, they say, well, should I get education now, or should and it's always the or. They always say, or should I, get my finances in order first? And I say, well, it's not an or, it's and, because it's going to take time for you to learn. And for everybody listening, there is a lot to learn. I'm not going to kid you. Inside the course, I spent hundreds of hours creating this. I mean, Luke will absolutely attest to it. There's so much to learn in there, but I put it in there because I want you to be successful. Like, I don't do this to make money. I make my money through real estate. I want you to be successful in doing this business. So I give you everything that you need. And what I tell people is, if you don't have the finances right now, you will continually grow your finances by saving money, by, if you need to work another job, whatever it might be, like refinance. Like, if your refinance is going to come through in 3 months, well, start your education now. So in 3 months, your education will be caught up to your finances, so you can then start investing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's an excellent way to do it. I totally agree. Just maximizing your brain, because it is a really, I think a lot of times, and I'm definitely guilty of this. I say, well, I'm going to do this at this point, and so it's an excuse to put it off. And so I'm going to wait until I build up a certain amount of money, and then I'm going to start learning about real estate. It's like, well, like you said, why not do and just capitalize on your brain and always be thinking and always be kind of multitasking. Yeah, I can totally relate to that. And that's an excellent thing to do.
Awesome, Luke. Now, I have a thought that, so I've been working with a couple of students inside the Ultimate Real Estate Investing System and talking to other people. And just between the idea of building a business, you're on your own. But my thought was, why don't we, in the Ultimate Real Estate Investing System and the real estate wealth builders community that we have, why don't we do it accountability, like we have a partner or somebody that's maybe developing in a whole brand new area. You guys could be in the same area, but people who are a part of master passive income student community, from there that you get partnered with somebody, and you guys hold each other accountable. You share what's working for you, maybe share lenders or share property managers, or even, hey, I'm building it over here, you're doing it over here, then we can compare notes. What are your thoughts about, would that be beneficial?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a part of an accountability group already. And let me just I don't know if I'd even would have been able to do this without them, because you tell them your goals. It's a bunch of a few guys I just get together with once a month. I guess shout out to Cody, Chase, Will, and Tanner. Anyway, I get together with them once a month, and yeah, you tell them your goals, and similar minded, they have similar goals, and it's so important because I want to come back that next month and say, hey guys, I met my goals. To have somebody to tell, like, I did it, I worked towards it, And because I don't want to go back the next month and say, yeah, I just was kind of feeling lazy this month and I didn't get my goals done and all that stuff. It's like, no, that doesn't work. But it's so easy to do when it's just yourself. So yeah, I absolutely love that idea.
Awesome. Okay, so that settles it because I've talked to a few students and they're all for it. I was just trying to figure out, well, does anybody even really want this? And I know for me, as I've gotten to more masterminds or more accountability groups, it just really helps. Exactly like you said, I don't want to go and tell all the guys, yeah, I didn't do anything this month.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, come on.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Well,
That's
great.
just
Okay, so tell us some advice. You already told us a lot of great things about how you built the business and how you've done this. Is there anything that you've learned? Is there any lessons learned that you've gone through? What would you suggest that we should know getting started?
well, there are always going to be excuses. I could have gotten the property a little bit earlier, but I just kind of put it off because I was scared, to be honest with you. But you just, if you look at it as, especially with like properties that are so cheap, the risk is really low. I tell my family and friends what I've been doing and everything, and they look at me like I'm from another planet. Like, what are you doing? Like, why? What are you doing with your money? Why are you doing this? Um, but I said that my mortgage is $443 a month. Well, if I'm already living frugally, and I have reserves and everything, if I don't get the place rented, if it turns into a complete disaster, I can turn around and probably sell it for a loss, a few $1,000s, maybe a little bit more. But the risk is super, super low for the reward. And so I would just say, go ahead and just do it. I mean, just get that first property under your belt. I wouldn't consider my property that I just got a home run. I mean, the numbers are good and it works, but I don't think it's a home run from a business perspective, but it definitely was a home run for a life perspective. It gave me so much confidence to go out and get another one, and I have the business now, and it just I didn't really believe it, and I was like, is this actually going to work? And then as soon as I got it was a direct deposit coming in.
Oh, I
I'm like,
love it.
man, I like I'm successful. I did this. Now there's gonna be hiccups down the road, and that's to be expected. But uh, it's just real. So it's just such a good feeling, and you just got to go out and do it. You take us step by step. Uh, to me, it's just there's little risk, high reward. Just do it.
Yeah, to think of the price point that we buy these properties for being anywhere from like $40,000 to 80, maybe $100,000. We try not to get too high above there because we don't need to. We get passive income from these properties, and people might say, "Well, who's going to want to live in those properties?" I'm like, absolutely. There are loads and loads of people that will absolutely live. In fact, I'm proof of that. You are, Luke, proof that people will pay to live in. As long as you're giving a good property, you're taking care of it, you're managing it well, and everything that you just said is absolutely right. And here's my perspective. This one absolutely was a home run. And the reason why I say that is because that first property is the hardest. If you get that, if you're making more than $250 on your first property, number one, you buy the first property and you're making more than $250 in passive income every single month, where you're making close to 400. If you do that, that's literally a home run. But here's another thing on top of that. You're probably, I bought 30 plus properties now, and I would say out of all of them, maybe two were perfect, like literally the best deal. Like, oh my goodness, it could not be any better. Just two. The other ones were like, you know what? I'm get a single, or I get a double, or I get a triple, or some are home runs. Some are better than home runs. Some are like grand slams, which are great. But that's what our business is about. As long as we're making that minimum of $250 a month, we're going to do really well as a business. And here's a big reason why I have that $250 as the benchmark is because it gives us a huge buffer for any errors that we might have made. Let's say we didn't account for a tax or an expense or something. We have that buffer. That's $3,000 a month in passive income that if we need to dip into like an extra $1,000, we still made $2,000 that year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so weird. I mean, I've had this property. I bought it beginning of March, so very, very. I haven't had it very long. But yeah, I going through the process and everything, and then right before the deal, I realized I had to do a termite inspection and get a termite contract and all that. And so I had the 250, and that was still a little bit of a buffer, and so the deal was still okay because you told me to have that buffer. So yeah, I've already experienced that, having that cool buffer. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good. Okay, so you've given us loads and loads of great advice. Now, tell us about anything else that we should know, or because we definitely there might be something that you learned, like, hey, in Alabama, I just found this by chance, but I look at Zillow. One thing that I do want you to touch on is looking at Zillow. You say you look at Zillow all the time, which is my favorite tool to find properties. Is it, as we're wrapping up, what are any tools or any tips that you can give on looking at Zillow to make either maximize our time or make sure we're finding the right properties?
I so really I don't I know it's all about capitalizing on your time and leveraging yourself, but I look at, if you just look at it every day, basically, I just narrow it down to 3 bed, 1 bath, because I like to see the 1.5s in there, and then $120,000 is my max. And then I just look at that, and I have my parameters, and so I just look at that every day. And really, um, Birmingham's a decent sized area, but there are not a lot of properties that come on the daily that have fit under those parameters. So when I see one that I like it, just a light bulb goes off. And so, yeah, knowing exactly what you want. I'm looking more into those brick houses. It's got some curb appeal. So knowing exactly what you want. And then, aside from Zillow, there's Trulia. I'm sure you've heard of Trulia.
Mm-hmm.
They have, and it's not perfect, but they have you can actually look and see how the crime is in certain areas. And so that's just to get a feel for the area. When I'm looking at a new area or a neighborhood, I'm like, oh, this could be a good area to invest in. I type in that address, and I see where the crime is, and I say, oh, nope, not a good idea. Let's stay out of there. So yeah, just those tips. Always just be looking at houses, make it a habit, and make it, if you do it more and more, you're just going to get really excited about it. So.
And it's not going to take you hours every day. You're looking at probably 5 or 10 minutes at most, because you know the market. You know when a property comes on because, hey, I've already seen all 10 of these. I already know them. Oh, here's a new one. So it's so much faster because you're into that market. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you know your numbers really well, they have a calculator for you at all the time, that you can just quickly go through your numbers, see if it's even worth looking at. You use the 1% rule. So if it doesn't even meet that, just pass on by. And yeah, it's doesn't take a whole lot of time if you know what you're looking for, but you can only know what you're looking for if you look at it every day and kind of get a feel for the market.
That's great, Luke. Man, Luke, that so many great things. I'm super excited for you. I'm rooting for you to get your next property. If anybody wants to reach out to Luke and to talk to him, you can find him in the student community. You can find him out there. Luke, thank you so much, man. I'm super excited that you're a part of the Master Passive Income community, and you are doing it, man. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Dustin. I appreciate it, man.
And that is it for today. Go ahead and get my free real estate investing course. Text the word rental to 33777. RENTAL to 33777. You can also join my Real Estate Wealth Builders group coaching. Get all my courses. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next show. See ya.